you that don't know me, my name is Mancini. I know most of you in this room, but I'm the current chair of the Tennessee Democratic Party, and I want to tell you a little bit about myself for those of you who are new to me. I moved to Tennessee about 30 years ago, and I opened up a small business. It was because I saw a need in the community. It was actually a record store and a all-ages punk rock music venue in Nashville. And the reason why that's important is because it became a place for young people to gather where they felt accepted. Our motto was no racist, homophobic, or sexist belief tolerated. And they were allowed to come there and express themselves and be who they are. The other important part of that is that it was a place where it fired up my love of civic engagement again. And we always had voter registration forms at the right next to the register. We started a couple of years later, based on that experience, a voter registration drive where we went to different venues where they were having concerts, and while the kids were waiting in line, we got volunteers and we registered voters while they were waiting in line. It's like a captive audience. It was really great. And from there, when I sold that business, I went into the technology sector for about 10 years. And during that time, I didn't stay out of politics. I actually did a number of different things, continued with voter registration drives. I also created a progressive talk radio show with my partner, Freddie O'Connell, that was on Vanderbilt University's station for about 6 years. And I was also on the board of an organization called Tennessee Citizen Action, which was a statewide advocacy organization and grassroots organizing organization. And it belonged to a national organization called U.S. Action. The radio show really did expose me to the inner workings of the state legislature. I met a lot of Democratic legislators, also local politics and county politics. We did a lot of interviews of activists and advocates and candidates. And a few years after that was over, the job of executive director of Tennessee Citizen Action came open, and I actually took that job and was the executive director. And there I spent time at the state legislature, 3 years actively lobbying on behalf of health care for all, against the photo ID to vote bill, against payday lending, and against the decimation of workers' compensation that the Republicans were pushing. After that, I ran for office for state senate, and then this job came open, and I put together a plan because I saw that Tennessee Democrats were in a free fall in 2014. And I knew from my work at the state legislature that the Republicans were on the attack and were really, really going after people's lives and livelihoods. Teachers' pay was being cut, collective bargaining was done away with, no health care, forget about that. Again, workers' compensation was under attack. Women's reproductive health was under attack, and I said we have to do something. So I got this job, and I realized that we were in a mess. It was in a free fall. There was a lot of infighting. We were relying on a handful of donors to fund the work at the Tennessee Democratic Party. We were losing. We had been losing for 20 plus years. The data was a mess, and our county parties were really considered to be a kind of an afterthought or an annoyance. And the thing about our county parties is they are the connective tissue for the Democratic Party. It is actually the organization that is written into our bylaws as being the organizing arm of the Tennessee Democratic Party. So they're very important. So I got in and I worked to increase diversify our donor levels, right? Small, medium, and large donors. Increase our recurring donor program by 160%. The infighting stopped, right? I have a great working relationship with the chairs of the caucus. 2 caucuses, State House and State Senate, and we work really well together where it's important in terms of candidate recruitment and figuring out where the resources for the races are going to go, the right time and the right place. I also have a great relationship with the executive committee because my culture at the office is one of transparency and accountability. Also have a great working relationship with Democrats all over the state, so healed that rift. We also started winning again. We flipped a seat in 2016 that had been in the hands of Republicans at the State House for 30 years. In 2018, for the first time in 22 years, there were more Democrats at the state legislature the day after the election than the day before. Our data is being utilized by hundreds of candidates. We give it free to our county parties. And our county parties are really cards, they're so important to the work that we do, and we've been putting together programs and structures to make sure that our county parties are firing on all cylinders.